Hey, it's Mo, which in around these parts stands for Mutants and Masterminds Monday. It's a little program where we get together and talk about M&M, Mutants Masterminds. Mutants Masterminds being this phenomenal hero-based TTRPG that's the only superhero TTRPG out there, which is wild. Still shocks me to this day. I see that we're joined by the typical heroes in chat. Can you hear me, friends? Hey, William, good to see you. Raymond says you got lucky, Troy. I was setting up the air horn. Yeah, just putting the Troy signal in the sky. I wonder what that would be. What would...
Right?
Yeah, what would it be?
Very hard to make a disembodied signal.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder...
True.
You know, and I hesitate
Would it be projecting a cloud on the clouds? I mean, that'd
right,
be like...
exactly.
How would you see it?
So, of
It's
course,
probably a gravy boat.
You hear gravy boat. I think you're right. I think you've heard these two voices before, but I like to pair them with the faces. Hi, guys.
Hello.
It's Alex and Steve. You know, Alex is the line lead for Mutants and Masterminds, and Steve Kenson, he is the Mutants and Master Daddy, as he loves that. You know, so
that's his
sure
favorite title.
Yes.
when you're filling out your Christmas cards this year or sending them off.
That's how I sign them.
I love the capybara signal. I like that. I do love a capybara.
That is a good critter.
Yeah. Let's see who else.
Critter.
It's the friend signal. It's friend shaped.
Yeah, friend shaped signal. Exactly.
If not friend, why friend shaped? As I feel about teddy bears.
Right. Yeah.
Grizzly bears,
I feel the same way about badgers. They look so cute, but they want to just chew your arm off. Look at everybody in chat. Devious is here, of course. We've got Nate Robbins is here. Hey, Nate. Our good buddy, non sequitur Nate. Paul's here as well. Hopped up on the bean juice. I like that. I'll tell you a little secret, gentlemen. I'm doping up. I'm taking, oh shoot, what is this called? It's a supplement. And I've taken it this morning, and it has literally lit me on fire. That's right.
This stream brought to you by AG1. AG Green.
It's not riboflavins. I'll get back to that. Let's see. Rebel Moose, did I already say hi to you? I just like your name so much I had to say it twice. RC Beeler's here as well. We have touched on Noir in the past. RC muses that we probably touched on that before. I think maybe at least once in a different context, or maybe close to the same. Hey William, I'm reading these squires here too. I like that squire.
That's a good squire.
Let's see. Jonathan Jackson, good to see you. Long time no see. I'm so glad that you were here with us. And let me see. Sean Holland's here. Some good soup. Good to see you here. Some good soup says, hi, I had a really super weird dream about M&M Monday last night. It involved a lot of sand, which I think I ate a bit. And I believe you guys announcing a Minecraft crossover book. Well, all right. Important of things to come.
Right? I have to say, I don't think that dream is prescient, but
no,
you never know.
No, not often stuffing my, eating sand.
Yeah, I think a bowl of soup is sand is probably bad soup, actually, if I had to guess.
That's some bad soup. Yeah. But always some good soup from some good soup. Craig McNichol says, I'm here. Good to see you.
Hi, Craig McNichol.
And then who did I miss anybody? I know I did, and I apologize. Real quick, do me a favor, friends. Where in the world are you? Jay Gray, good to see you. Tell me on the map where we would find you. I'm not your address or anything. I mean, unless you want to give it to me, then I'll come over later after the show. We can hang out. But tell me, I'm just curious. We want to know sort of where on this earth you might live. And Jay Gray says, I've been here the whole time. Well, oh, hey. I didn't know there was a moose emoticon.
Yes, and RC, I do
Musicon.
play an evil teddy bear upon occasion.
Truth.
It's been
That
That
is
is
known.
the
true.
only player character I have a life-size version of on my desk. This is
Hey.
Dr.
Oh,
Henry
that's
Barrister. He's the good version. Then there's Eddie Bear, who is Billy Butcher with a G rating enforced by Hasbro.
so that bear is a barrister.
That is Dr. Henry Barrister.
I see. A doctor and a lawyer,
Just a
or
doctor.
just a doctor. Okay, gotcha.
Yep. Although I
Um,
guess if a child believed him enough, he would become a lawyer.
Oh, sure,
Just the way that
absolutely.
his powers work.
Look
Anything a
at
kid
this.
believes about him sufficiently becomes true.
All right, Paul's connecting via Brisbane, Australia.
Mhm.
How's that, Paul? I've been working on my Australian accent. Not really. Okay, we got Craig from Canada. Let's see. Jonathan Jackson is born and bred Texan. Yeehaw! California for some good soup. Let's see. Where else? Boston, Mass. That's our friend RC.
Right here in New England.
That's right. And then I know Jay Gray's up in the, I think they call it the Best Coast, right? Best Coast, West Coast?
Is that what they
Yes.
say? Nobody says that
I've
about where
heard.
I'm from.
Well, both Jay Gray and I say that. Hey, Full Metal Dragon, greetings to you today and every day. Nate Robbins in the Pacific Northwest, moving soon to Virginia. Wow. We'll have to find out what's going on there. So it's Noir in Titan City. Now, Alex, this is your baby.
Yes.
This is you birthed this baby. And it's a very handsome, Noir, kind of moody, a little.
They're doing their best.
Yeah,
They're
they're
living
doing
their
their
best
best.
life in a J. Edgar Hoover sort of way.
Sure. Okay. That's curious. But let's do this. Give us, for folks who may be listening for the very first time.
Yeah, well, everybody, welcome in. Today we're going to be talking about Titan City and the noir genre in Mutants and Masterminds. Noir being sort of that early dawn of the superhero, hard-boiled detective, everything's in black and white, everybody's really sad sort of genre of superhero story. Titan City is a fantasy noir setting. So set in that same sort of 1920s, 1930s time period, but in 1907, everybody in the world found out that magic and monsters are real, and they've been trying to figure out what to do with that information in their best way, which in a J. Edgar Hoover sort of best way, as I mentioned before.
Mhm.
During the 20s time period, there is the Department of Monsters Affairs, that is the government agency tasked with ensuring that all monsters and magic using people and weird supernatural bits are able to coexist with the public, enforcing things like dietary restrictions for monsters who feed on things like brains or blood or organs or the tears
People
of
in
the
any way.
innocent. Yeah. Providing an ethical source of food for them.
I see.
Doing things like, if you're dangerous to humans based on just you existing, we're going to try our best to mitigate that. So taking out Medusa's eyes.
Oof.
Oh.
Just real
That's
bad.
rough.
Yeah, they didn't tell her about that before they did that. That was sort of
no.
that made her kind of have an axe to grind with the government, which is
I was
something that
gonna
will
say,
come
it
up in a
seems-
later adventure.
It seems like that would leave a swath of very angry, popular mythic figures that, in this, it's an alternate Earth.
Yes. Yeah.
Is that right? Or is it? Yeah.
Yeah. Alternate Earth, not the same Earth as Earth Prime, but
Right.
perhaps some close in the multiverse together.
Right.
But yeah, Titan City itself is on the East Coast. It is a metropolis akin to Freedom City, but with a little bit more definitive, it is somewhere in Massachusetts, where Boston would be in our universe.
Mhm.
I just got sick of people saying that street didn't exist in Boston in 1933 when I was writing my first book.
Those Bostonites too. I mean, they'll throw a battery at you.
Right.
That sounds like a
Just
specific story that happened to you, Troy.
It's a thing. It's a thing. It's wild. But okay, gotcha. All right. Well, that's great. Wonderful
Yeah.
background. And if you check out our show notes, wherever you're watching, I think we actually might not do show notes over on Twitch, but on YouTube,
Mhm.
you will find links to things, including you've written some novels based in Titan City.
Yeah. So Titan City originated as a backstory for my first ever Mutants Masterminds character, and we've sort of come full circle at this point. Basically, I had a player character who I really enjoyed, who suffered an ignominious fate at the hands of a game master that I don't play with anymore. And I said, you know what? I don't like the way his story ended. I'm going to write my own story about it.
Mm-hmm.
And the universe is sort of sprung from that. And yeah, there's the first book in the series is out. It's called The Magician's Sin. And we have a couple of adventures now for Mutants Masterminds in the Astonishing Adventures line. The Lost Library is the first one that is out and available to people, set in this universe. Deals with a mummy who wants to destroy Egypt. And there's an upcoming adventure called the Jordanau Mystery, which takes place at the beginning of the German invasion of Poland in 1938. Trying to prevent a group of Nazi super monsters from unlocking a secret portal to go somewhere bad.
Alex, would you estimate how much Titan City setting and background material have you written so far?
Too much. As you can see from the map behind me and Steve, the world has the city has a very nice, very well detailed map. I've got lots of information about all of the neighborhoods and the districts of the city, a lot of the key NPCs who are bouncing around, sort of how the Department of Monsters Affairs works. We had a really great story about a ghost and a zombie being created from the same person, having property fights over whose house it was, which was a ton of fun. Yeah, it's lots of stat blocks, lots of characters, lots of places for people to get stuck in to tell all sorts of fun stories.
Right.
And that's one of the main things I love about the setting is that you can do the hard-boiled detective stuff if you want to get into, like, I work for the Department of Monsters Affairs and I help monsters coexist, or I'm a monster who's being sort of persecuted by the Department of Monsters Affairs and I want to help people live in their own terms without being registered with the government. There's a magic school where you can go for magic and monster using kids called the Silverthorn Academy that has a ton of really great adventures I've written for them.
So Jonathan Jackson wants to know what's the general power level of Titan City.
I'd say generally power level 6 to power level 8 with some outliers on either end. Your general DMA adventure, the Department of Monsters Affairs adventure, is probably going to be more like PL4, PL5, maybe. But the Lost Library is PL6. The monster kids are usually PL6. I've got some early superheroes that are PL8. And then there are some characters who get up into the 10 to 12. And there's a couple of PLXs roaming around because everybody needs a good PLX to make deals with.
So would you say sorry, Troy, go. I was going to say that. Would you say the noir and sort of the pulp style eras come sort of one after the other in Titan City, or they coexist?
I think they coexist depending on your group's player. I have a lot of players who tend towards the pulpiness. That's sort of where they like to be, the sort of swashbuckling and the high adventure.
Right.
But there are groups who get into the noir stuff very heavily. RC actually was a GM who ran a Titan City event at Origins this year. That was a very noir story. It was a group of police officers from the Titan City Police Department called the Brass Templars who go and investigate monster crimes on behalf of the DMA. And this was a very investigation-heavy episode that only went off the rails at the end.
So it's much more about the sort of style of adventure you want to tell.
Yeah, there's room for whatever your group is into. If you want to do sort of we're early superheroes with our masks and somebody has a cool car and we're all a little nuts, but we're humans who have the best of everybody's best interest in mind.
I know that the Jordanau Mystery is much more like that and like the sort of golden age superheroes in style as far as that goes.
Yeah, and that World War II is sort of the capstone for Titan City's adventures in the short term.
Mhm.
And
I'm
that's
gonna
where the real dawn of the superhero age has begun, with people with like big powers and doing all the fun. Let's go punch Hitler in the face things.
Got it. RC, you said your message got erased. Elaborate, would you please? I'm just curious what that could possibly mean. Let's see.
Hmm.
Some Good Soup says, I got to know how to, as a creative, as you guys. Oh, I got to know how, as creative as you guys are, I'm supposing that I can be able to expand my own setting. Elaborate on that for me. And bringing Pulp Era to life and M&M. Oh, Devious links to a Atomic Think Tank article.
Yep.
Which is great. John Pologic says mysteries tend to be a big part of the noir genre. What's your best advice for handling the dangers of power, such as super senses and telepathy, to short circuit mystery plots? Suddenly, everyone's got a cell phone.
Yeah, well, there are no cell phones in Titan
Right.
City, but yeah, there are lots of
Right.
people who could read minds or who could see the future. The dealing with that particular power set comes to being liberal with hero points to add complications to people's interpretations of things, and knowing that just because somebody is able to read somebody's mind, whoever's mind they're reading isn't omniscient about what happened.
Mhm.
A lot of unreliable narrators, a lot of the information they're getting might be cryptic. It might be hard to interpret. If it is reading the future, maybe the future is not set in stone. That is just a current future
Mhm.
based on the information, based on how variables are in motion now, but things can move as the players act.
Plus, a setting as associated with monsters and mysticism as Titan City, I assume that you've got villains who are aware of the dangers of, mind readers and, prognosticators and all of that. And, your minions obviously can't give away anything you don't tell them.
Mhm. Yeah, and there's Jupiter Enterprises is sort of the LexCorp of the setting, where
Mhm.
they'd make their fortune from combining magic and technology in ways that are useful to consumers who are worried about magic and monsters interfering with their day-to-day lives. So they do have
Sure.
things like mind reading, blocking helmets, and fun things like that.
Yeah.
Now, real quick, there a couple folks they're like, "Wow, I love the sound of this." If this is kind of scratching an itch for you and you want to explore, we've while the kind of core book on Titan City continues to sort of build itself, and working on that in the background, we've got an adventure called. It's an astonishing adventure, actually, and it's
Mhm.
quite astonishing.
Mhm.
It's called The Lost Library.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
you
the
can pick
first thing that you can buy now, other than my book. If you want to know more about Titan City, you can purchase
truth.
The Magician's Sin, or if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can read it for free.
Hey,
You
I
can
like
bet.
that. And guess what? It's on sale. So you can pick it up 20% off right now.
Yeah.
$4.79. Normally $5.99. So there you go.
Yeah, but otherwise, it is still in development. We're still working on getting everything ironed out and getting everything ready for prime time. There are some actual plays set in Titan City, both on the Untold Stories Project that I stream with every week, and there are also some here on Green Ronin's previous live streams.
Mhm.
That's right. Yeah, we've got quite a few. Some that are in progress and some that came to a conclusion. Some 7 or 8 episodes later. And a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Mhm.
Let me see here. To elaborate on my previous comments, some good soup. I just want to be creative enough to make something cool and interesting. Oh, buddy,
Hmm.
you can do it. We all believe in you.
Yeah, I have no doubt.
Not a bad place to start, though, here hanging out in chat. We'll get a lot of creative stuff going on. Let's see.
Yep, there are a ton of phone booths and operators with switchboards and all that fun stuff. Simon
Yep.
mentions, and
I love that.
telegrams.
Yes,
There's
Hello.
actually
telegram.
the adventure I ran at Gen Con this year with Sean Holland as a player. There was a telegraph in the main cabin of the camp they were staying at, but it was destroyed, so they couldn't communicate outside the
Mhm.
I
campground.
see. I'm getting a Lily Tomlin switchboard operator vibe. Let's see.
Right.
Oh, wait, I do have a question for you, Alex. How when so you tend to you bring there's danger when you're GMing for the player, and they need to keep on their toes, and always some kind of monkey paw sort of arrangement. Uh, um, but how do you? But you also like kind of campy stuff and fun and silly sort of, like it wouldn't be shocking to find a, sort of a Liberace Clone War or something, you know what I mean, going on in a story of yours. But how do you blend your joy of
now I have to write that.
Right.
Thanks, Troy.
all yours, my friend, all yours. My gift to you on this fine day. But how do you find that the juxtaposition between the sort of campy fun silliness that is inherent in the kind of superhero genre, it's just been a thread forever. Does it work well with the kind of the dark, almost nihilist kind of noir elements?
Yeah, I think it's something I often decide during gameplay. When I write the scenario that I'm going to run, typically there are a couple of different ways it can play out depending on the energy of the people at the table. Because some people might show up for a game that's a one shot and not want to be dragged down into the everything sucks feeling. They just want to get away and have a good time for a couple hours on their vacation.
Right.
And I make that decision as I'm sitting at the table. Like, okay, everybody seems like they're here for the silly, so I can lean into that. Or everybody looks like they signed up for this because they were like, oh, this is a noir story. I want to get into that sort of like hard boiled, that grim cynicism.
Yeah.
But I would also argue that most of the best noir stories have some slapstick elements in them. I'm thinking of there's comedy relief in almost every movie I can think of that is a noir movie. There's always something silly in there to help relieve pressure and to help relieve tension, because it's a game of managing that sort of feeling, because you don't want the whole thing to be a march through dourness.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So it's another
Right.
dial to add to kind of ease the pressure of the
Plus, the noir genre has a tendency to color the other elements of it. So you get that whole notion of, it's a school of kids and they're all monsters, but they're also orphans and, kind of, stuck at this creepy boarding school together.
yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. So
And there's so many fun things at the creepy boarding school. Like they have a ghost maid named Virginia who has lived there for 150 years. And she's just excited that the haunted house has living people in it again instead of just just her and her ghost friends.
Is this the school? We played in a Titan City adventure where we're students.
Silverthorn Academy.
Yes. Yeah. That was a lot of fun. Jay Gray
I'm
says,
actually working on a traumatic adventure set there where Virginia's living relatives come to the house to be like, can we put our ancestor to rest? We hear that she's here and maybe disturb.
Wow.
So
very
the kids
interesting.
have to grapple with we like her and she seems to be having a good time, but is that true?
Right. Is it bad of us to want to keep her around?
Right. Yeah. And what does she think about it? Clearly she is aware, and that's consent to be around as a ghost is that's an interesting conundrum. Jay Gray mentions this too. If you're a member of the Atomic Think Tank Cape and Cowl, which is our so first of all, the Atomic Think Tank, it's free. You go to atomicthinktank.com, you jump in, you have some fun. There's tons of stuff, but there's another level above that, which is our the membership. And Devious and I will get into some of the details of all that good stuff later in the program. But for now, Jay Gray says, do you get an even further discount on that? And yeah, you do. I think I've set it up so you get another 10 or 15% discount. That's just part of what you get as a member, so that your membership pays for itself. Is the hope there. So anyway, to answer your question, yes.
Squire says that he played Lost Library at PL12, and I think that is awesome. I want to know more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. There's another question here as well, and I want to make sure. I think it was from Jonathan Jackson, or JJ, as I like to call them. Okay, would changing the PL for the adventure for players that like playing at a higher level play, higher level play, break anything in the adventure, or do I just need to scale things?
I would say most of the time, just scaling is all you'll have to do for most. We
Yeah.
write our adventures with the idea that you might scale them up and down.
Yep.
For a more detailed explanation of how to do that, the Astonishing Adventures Assembled PDF has a whole section about how to
Talking
increase.
about that.
Yeah, how to increase power level, decrease power level, how to increase player amount, because we generally write for a certain amount of player characters, or how to
Right.
decrease player characters.
You've got to particularly take into account some challenges in an adventure and take a look at them from the perspective of characters who are going to have a lot more powers. If one of the, for example, in Lost Library, one of the scenes definitely involves a plane crash. If one of the characters is super strong and can fly, not as much of a problem if they can simply pick up the plane and gently put it down. And you may want to rework that scene in some way to make it more of an interesting challenge, to the character, where instead of just having to lower the plane to the ground, they have to catch a bunch of falling people all at once. Or something else interesting.
Just for example.
Just for example.
Hey, so Astonishing Adventures Assembled, as Alex mentioned, is I've dropped a link to that in chat, and it too, 20% off. Normally $18, $14.80. So yeah. Hey Tempo, good to see you. You can lurk. That's fine, my friend. Sometimes you just want to hang back and just listen, and that's cool too.
Yeah, Doc Void, that new Batman Cape Crusader on Amazon Prime is definitely in the noir area.
Very noir.
Some good soup asks, how many things in the school want to eat you? Are you not allowed to feed the lockers because they'd rampage?
There's a whole adventure path about all the things in the school that want to eat people,
including some of the students.
Yeah,
right.
That's one of the Silverthorn Academy is one of the things I'm most excited for you all to get your hands on, because I can't wait to see your students. I can't wait to see the stories you guys come up with.
Oh yeah, bunch of kind of enigmatic characters, and with the headmistress.
Oh yeah,
she's kind of cool. Yeah.
Right. I had one of my first experiences playing in Titan City recently, which was wild. Not knowing
I know,
what was
right?
Happen. Because there have been a few GMs who have been picking up the setting and they've been writing adventures, and I got to play in one, and I was like, "This is the coolest, weirdest thing that's happened."
It's weird and cool when you get to play in your own setting.
I love it. Let's see. Lots of talk about sort of different elements that people can kind of bring in, and Paul says lurking is very genre appropriate. Well, it sure is. It sure is.
Lots of lurking, and I guess we should break down sort of noir elements, because people keep saying,
this
has
great.
Noir elements. These are things like, for noir in particular, it is the cliche that everybody is sort of pushing against a corrupt system in their own way, and a lot of them are also cursed or broken down in their own regard.
Yep.
A lot of Byronic heroes, to borrow a literature trope. People who ultimately have good motivations but don't necessarily take the most angelic path to get to their goals.
Right.
Very much touchstones of corrupt, overpowering systems looming down on top of you. There's a lot of overlap with cyberpunk, weirdly enough, because we've sort of come full circle. A lot of investigating, a lot of duplicity, which is something that's really hard to run as a game master, because generally you get to betray your player characters once and then they never trust anybody again.
Right. How do you manage that, though? I mean, is it sort of the? Sorry, my.
Yeah, no, it's a trust game.
Internet took a hiccup. But how do you manage that betrayal?
Yeah, there's a lot of, once you have an NPC betray the group, you have to have an understanding with your players that is not going to be the case for everything.
Everybody. Yeah.
There's a little bit of suspicion of disbelief that you have to get, suspension of disbelief, not suspicion of disbelief.
There's that too. But...
There is that too. But you have to, tell your players, we're all on the same side trying to tell a fun story. Occasionally that story will have elements of betrayal. And that won't be the case for everybody you run into. So please don't assume just because I introduce a character that they are going to be a problem.
But also don't not presume.
Yeah, it's a communication thing. It's
Yeah.
having a rapport with your players and, using it sparingly in ways that are interesting and unique in my experience.
William Lang says, do we have a number for Titan City Earth yet?
We don't really number different universes in the Earth Prime Omniverse. I mean, maybe somebody does, but
yes. Anti-Earth, is that? No, I guess that's not a number.
No,
That's just
I was going to say they don't have numbers. I know. Trust me.
I'm conflating my adventure notes because my Freedom League Dark and the Multiverse of the Master Mage, they do have numbers, and I was like, but that's just a me thing. That's not an everybody thing.
Right.
It's just a for your records kind of thing. Square mentions this. My wife is still scarred from the constant betrayals our old GM threw at us almost 20 years ago. Yeah, I mean, it's so we always come to this at some point. Really, I think in nearly every episode where we just say, "Don't forget, like you can really change the way a person sees TTRPGs for the worse if you don't take care." Yeah.
The constant, that's the real problem.
Yeah.
And it's diminishing returns. The more you do it, the less impact it's going to have.
Less effect it has. Yeah.
Yeah. Then you're just a jerk.
Yeah, I think I've had a couple of good betrayals in my career, but they have been built on that character was not obviously flagged as they're going to betray us from the start. They had the chance to build that rapport with the characters, and there was the natural extension of the players made some choices that led to this, so that it felt like a natural plot point instead of me forcing it in.
Right. A topic that you talk about on I think was it your last Joy of Game Mastering? Talk about railroading.
Yes, talked about railroading specifically.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, Paul, you posted in chat and you said this is really helpful for running mystery or investigation games. And then nothing. So I'm wondering, you're probably referring to us in chat as the wonderful resource, but I'm wondering if were you trying to drop a link, and if so, let me know. Because I have some magic I can do in the background for you. Just keeping me apprised.
5 betrayals in one session.
That's a lot.
That sounds like a game of Fiasco. That doesn't.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah,
it's like that's like a game of paranoia.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Sean Holland says it's exceedingly difficult to pull off effectively. Are you talking about?
It can be, yeah.
Yeah,
betrayals.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's such a pillar of the noir genre that it is something that you want to grapple with because it's something that people will expect, genre specifically.
Yeah,
and you can use some of that expectation to help lay the seed of that.
Yeah, it is, and it's a degree to which you want your players to be surprised, and you also want them to be comfortable with the game. And that's another one of those session 0 conversations. To say, to what degree do you, want to be surprised by these kinds of things? And to what degree do you want to be in on it? Because I'm fine working with a player who's okay with setting up their own character's betrayal, essentially, as long as I've had some players who are like, I'm okay with the notion as long as I know it's coming. Like if I can create this situation where I'm like, okay, this NPC is the perfect person to betray my character, because my character would definitely trust them, and I'm fine playing knowing that that's going to happen and just not acting on that meta knowledge. Some players are much better with that idea and are perfectly fine with playing in character that they've their character has been betrayed, but they don't want to be shocked personally as a player by it because they just take it personally.
Yeah, and it's exhausting to kind of stay in that is it betrayal or not betrayal mode through hey, real quick, friends, no matter where you're at right now, whether you're over in jolly old Australianton, or you're hanging out in maybe you're hanging out with RC in Boston, throwing batteries at passerbys, or perhaps you're hanging out in the beautiful state of Washington here in the Pacific Northwest. Everywhere you go, you're going to see a like button and a share button and a button with a bell that you have to tickle, and you immediately become part of the most exclusive club of people that get notified when we go live. And you get notified of all of our good stuff. We never go live with bad stuff. It's always good. And so you help us a great deal when you like the stream, regardless of Facebook, whether it's over on Twitch, or maybe you're hanging out here on YouTube. Give us a like. If there's a heart, give us that. If there's a star, no, don't give us any stars. I need to disable that because it's sweet and all, but we don't need donations to the stream.
No.
But we do need is a good comment, share a question, share a reflection. If there's something that Alex and Steve said that spurred you to think of something in a deeper way, or you want to ask a question based on sort of kind of the pathways that are opening when you think about TTRPGs and specifically Mutants and Masterminds, ask the question in the chat, and or if you're watching this on demand, you can ask it just right underneath the video itself, and we answer. We actually answer. So drop a note, share this with a friend, let everybody know that you are a supporter of Mumamo, and it helps us a great deal because the real villain here is the algorithm.
Naturally.
Sad but true.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Doc Void is got a session 0 coming up. So Doc, let us know if you've got some interesting session 0 questions you're planning on posing to your players.
Yeah. And other folks as well. If you've got some session 0 questions, we'll wait for Doc to. How do you fit? How do you fit cynicism into a noir setting?
And you fit cynicism in
everywhere.
It's
fit it in everywhere.
Yeah, it's cynicism colored. It tastes like cynicism.
Yeah, that's cynicism is such a. It's a mood.
Yeah.
It's something that you sprinkle in just wherever it fits, and it comes down to the NPCs that people are interacting with. Generally, they will have a negative idea of how things are going to go. Generally, they'll be right.
Right.
And I would recommend never enforcing it from your player characters, because a lot of people will want to be the hope. They want to be the people who are trying to lift everybody up around them. But as GM, you have the opportunity to have your NPCs, your villains, the other people they're interacting with are going to come from the everything is bad and it's only going to get worse mentality.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
And it's another one of those scenarios where you need to have a certain amount of player buy-in and have players who are willing to play reluctant characters. Oftentimes the heroes and protagonists in noir stories are very reluctant heroes. They're people who are just like, I don't want to get involved, or I want to stay out of this sort of a thing. But that's the character, whereas the player is often the one who is aware that they're playing an RPG story. And so they can play a character who's reluctant, but who's not so reluctant that they're going to just, make it so your story, you're dragging them into the story. They can play reluctant, but still play along.
So what would you?
What I mean.
What are some heroes that? I mean, for some reason, I immediately go to like it's not specifically noir, but Han Solo. Like he seems like the reluctant hero. Like he's just like everybody's kind of bad guys, and I gotta save these people.
He's mercenary. Yeah.
And then Paul mentions there's also the doomed optimist, innocent character.
Yeah, it usually doesn't end well for them.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
generally speaking.
Yeah, what are some other characters that people could kind of draw on to help fill out that how cynicism might manifest in an encounter?
Well, one of my biggest highlights for a cynical character is Rick from Casablanca.
Yep.
He's definitely a reluctant hero, and he has a heart of gold that he never wants anybody to see. But he is willing to do the right thing when push comes to shove.
Right.
Anybody with a really bad past who is like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
but still pushes forward.
That's particularly true that a lot of noir protagonists are cynics or are, down on things because they've had some kind of terrible trauma. They've been
Yeah.
betrayed before. They've suffered through something. A lot of noir is post World War One, and there were just a lot of traumatized people, dealing with the aftermath of that. And so you have a lot of noir characters who are just like, yeah, I was an idealist once, but this awful thing happened, and now I don't know, like I'm not so sure about this world, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, ironically, the protagonist in Who Framed Roger Rabbit is a classic noir character.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He's a cop whose partner was murdered, and now he's not so sure about enforcing the law, and does the law even really have any meaning, and all that whole thing is basically just a noir story mixed with this cartoon slapstick for contrast.
William Lane brings up Frank Miller's Sin City. That is just blatant. It is so. It
Absolutely.
is noiriest noir. Yeah.
Simon Film Noir did debut post World War II, but the time period that the stories take place in of the 20s and the 30s is post World War One.
Right.
Now, Nate mentions noir
post World War One.
Nate mentions noir can be any time. Is it really?
Yes.
Is it really? Yeah. Go. Let's talk about that for just a minute.
Yeah, film noir is a specific time and place, but noir as a genre is.
Yeah.
There are noir elements that you can infuse anywhere. Like we were mentioning, cyberpunk has a ton of noir elements.
Indeed.
Let's see. Paul mentions also most of these reluctant characters are resistant to adventure to a point. A character might walk past a beating because it isn't his problem to get caught up. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It definitely feels like an East Coast sensibility, to a bit of that, the big urban, kind of cities. But what
True.
would you
Although
say?
Interestingly enough, a lot of noir stories are set in California.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. You kind
LA,
of in my mind,
LA
you see
is the
palm
classic
trees.
noir city.
Yeah, one of my all-time favorite noir stories is LA Noir. It's a video game that I was a huge fan of. That takes place
that was a
right
great
in
game.
post World War II California, Los Angeles. I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
Yeah, LA Noir is a genre unto itself, says Stevius.
Yeah, in many ways.
Magnum PI is noir flavored.
Yeah, I mean, in that it's a detective story, and to a certain degree, the origin of the modern detective story, especially the American ones, is noir.
Okay.
Everybody knows nuns don't work on Sunday.
Devious has said, Chinatown.
Yeah, Chinatown. Big Trouble.
Oh, the Spider-Man noir series is great.
Yep.
It's such a. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Nick Cage as a voice actor. But maybe I'll grow to love it once we see it. Dick
thank
Tracy.
you, Doc. Doc Boyd says that Anson Walker's a good noir hero. I appreciate that. He's definitely a reluctant hero.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Dick Tracy is a great example, a classic example. How closely aligned do you think that this kind of sentiment, this flavor of noir, Titan City noir, aligns with Dick Tracy?
Yeah, there'd be a ton of good Dick Tracy elements in Titan City, especially the organized crime stuff.
Yeah.
The organized crime is mobsters, but a lot of them have opinions about how monsters should be integrated into their organizations.
Right. Dick Tracy is an interesting example of a story that is a couple of steps removed from noir, but very inspired by it. Because Dick Tracy is a detective character who is, very inspired by a lot of the classic noir detectives, but he's also a comic strip character. And so, he has a different sensibility, but he's still very much inspired from that origin.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of different, the villains and things.
Yeah, the weird villains.
Is very, again, sorry.
You had a little break up there, Troy.
Can you hear me?
I think you said that weird villains are very noir.
Yeah, I'm look at the Dick Tracy villains and how they, kind of play around, and it seems like Titan City and would have elements of that could be very
Hmm.
fun to play around with.
Yeah,
Yep.
there is a mobster named Kid Gangster who is very much a Dick Tracy villain. He's stuck in the body of a 10-year-old, and he's running his
Oh,
own
that's
organized
right.
mob.
Yeah.
That's rough. RC asks, what's the biggest boundary design wise you would say between running a game in Titan City and a more traditional 4-color setting like Freedom City?
Design wise, looking at, you're going to have a lot more mystical characters than you will in other 4-color
Hmm.
superhero games. So you'll have to be
Right.
able to sort of draw in those lines. There are aliens, there are high tech characters as well, but more often than not, it's either going to be a monster or a magic user of some kind.
Hmm.
Um, there are things to consider about, our characters aren't going to have as many amazing powers because they're generally lower power level. So you're going to need to be able to account for things like travel, things
Right.
like downtime for healing, for injuries that take place.
Yep.
Not to the extent of Valiant Adventures, but you're probably going to be down a little more time than in a traditional Earth Prime superhero game.
Right. And one interesting sort of boundary of a setting like Titan City that has a more focused power set is that you're going to have that descriptor take a more potent or more prominent role in the mechanics. So anti-magical effects, for example, in Titan City are more effective overall than they would be in a 4-color M&M game in Freedom City, where sure there are some magically capable characters, but the descriptors and the origins are too widely distributed to really have that level of effect. And conversely, in Titan City, like anti-technology descriptors are probably not going to be as effective because sure there are some high-tech characters, but they're not that common. Whereas technology is much more common in a modern 4-color superhero game. So a character who has, like I shut down all technology around me power is going to be probably more effective overall in that setting than in a place like Titan City.
Yeah, and this isn't codified in the rules or anything, but Titan City
No,
is also generally, you're going to have lower speed ranks for your characters, so it's going to be harder to get around.
right.
Flight is much less common than it would be in a typical superhero story.
Yep.
And again, those are things that you as the GM can dial as your players want. Just generally, when I run games, I think 30 miles an hour is typically where I max out most player characters because
Sure.
most cars max out at
I was just going
30
to say
with.
because if you can run as fast as a car, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. I love that. Let's see. Nate, you're so funny. I just
Not
didn't acknowledge.
batteries.
Nate said batteries. Yeah. Nate said love to all my TTRPG pet peeps. I hope to run my own games very soon. This post is tax deductible. I don't think that's how that works. Nate, you might want to talk to somebody who does that
I'm not
professionally.
sure the IRS will agree with you because we are unfortunately a for-profit.
That's right.
business.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm going to find that setting and I'm going to disable it. And I thank you, Nate, for your generosity. You are a big old sweetheart and we appreciate you being around.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, I do love RC's notion of if you're feeling generous and charitable, of buying M&M books and donating them to libraries is a
Oh,
great
yeah.
opportunity for folks who might not otherwise have access to those books to be able to use them.
And if you have a connection, like, many of you've got kids are in school, and if you've got people who want to start up a little club, if you've got people who want to, a local library, I love libraries. They are literally
Yeah,
going to
absolutely.
save the world, I believe. And anything we can do to support that. So yeah, that's a really good point. You can also send a note to us on the think tank. Just go to atomicthinktank.com and then reach out. We'll be happy to kind of facilitate more discussion around that.
I got my start in gaming because my local library gave us game space. to play in.
No shoot, no. I tried to keep our curses
Yeah.
to a minimum. That's a great story. I love
It's
that.
the, it's the 30s, Troy. You can swear all you'd like.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, that's great. I love it. Yeah, libraries are the best.
Yeah, they
let's
are.
see.
They're amazing.
We're running into the end of the show here.
Sean Holland mentions that, one character's mentor had to arrive by taxi in the game we ran at Gen Con.
I like that.
She can't fly and she can't teleport. And she's
Right.
like, just find somewhere to lay low for 45 minutes while I ride out
That's it.
there.
I love it. Well, so a great conversation. And what every time we do this, which is nearly every Monday since the dawn of time, always leave it with their feeling like there's so much more to talk about, which I think is the great place to kind of to leave it. Friends, if you have more conversations or questions, one of the things I love about the Mutants Masterminds community is that you've got your own expertise, your own experiences, and your own wise advice. So if you see people who are hanging out, let's say even on the YouTubes, share with them your thoughts. Feel free to kind of step in and say, hey, this is how I do my thing, because I think that is one of the best ways to get more people involved.
And feel free to carry on this conversation over on the Atomic Think Tank.
Heck yeah, absolutely. Throughout the chat, our buddy Devious has been dropping all kinds of links to articles applicable to the conversation. You could read all those and then say, what's missing, and then fill in that missing information with an article of your own. So be sure to do that. Steve, what's going on in the Steve Kensons cinematic universe?
Well, speaking of the Atomic Think Tank, I believe that the latest M&M mix-up just went up.
Indubitably.
On, Atomic Think Tank.
It sure did.
Which is the combination of the Orphean and the Eastern District of Emerald City, which was a scenario I ended up calling the Hell Money Heist for folks who want to check that out.
And that would be folks who are part of the
part of our membership.
That's right, part of the membership. So
Indeed.
it's great stuff, really good stuff. And then in addition, we dropped the other survey.
So there's a new poll up there for the next one.
That's right. And now, is that one that you're doing, or is it one that Alex is doing? Are you swapping? Are you bouncing back and forth, or did you take those, Steve, as yours?
Alex and I will work out whoever's next as far as that goes.
I think we just say it in a post
for my next one, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. We kind of talked about bouncing back and forth in prior communications, but we'll do it live.
Yeah.
We'll make it work. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, of course. Awesome. Okay. And anything else cooking? Steve, can you hear me?
What's up with me? Yeah, I'm trying to think of what else is going on. It's going through the list of things that I can actually talk about.
That's right.
As far as that goes, we've got our stat blocks coming up, and right now for me, it's taking care of stuff for our upcoming Expanse relaunch. Which I'm sure folks are aware of and are subscribed to, so they get notified when we finally launch the crowdfunder for the Transport Union of Expanse.
That's right. You'll find that link in chat right now. Right on. All right. Hey, Alex, how about you? What do you got cooking?
Well, what do I have cooking? I'll actually be doing a couple Titan City streams the next month or two over on Untold Stories Project while I'm getting ready for my 3-month break in October, just trying to squeeze as much in as I can before then. But Troy, I think we're going to have an actual play.
Yeah, that's in the offing, and I believe is it in Titan City?
It is. I was hoping for this weekend, if possible, but I guess we have to check with the players.
Yeah. We'll definitely check, and that'll be a blast. And do we want to share more background on what is the adventure?
Yeah, it's called Titan City Chronicles Last Rites, and it is about a All the magic users in Titan City receive the same psychic message that a wizard has died, and if they don't fix that in 24 hours, it's everybody's problem.
I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah, we've
Inspired by the Baldur's Gate 3 situation with Gale. So I was like, that should be a whole adventure. That shouldn't just be a fun gag.
And then we
And
bump
so it is.
and so it be. Yeah. And so also I think we've got a dev chat coming up this week. Our makeup dev chat.
Yeah, I believe so. On
And
Tuesday?
Yeah, I think we moved it to Tuesday to avoid conflicts and things. And so folks, you look for their information on that on the think tank. Yeah, anyone going to PAX Seattle this weekend? RC asks.
Not me.
Alas, no.
I'm gonna go and I'm gonna visit with our good friend Control Out Quinn.
Oh, nice. That'll be fun.
Famously, my twin clown sibling.
That happened. I watched the whole thing. I'm glad you let me know that was real and not just a nightmare I had.
Nope, it was real. It was not a fever dream. Nate says,
all too real.
Yeah, all too real. All right. Well, hey, gentlemen, thank you so much for hanging out with all these ne'er-do-wells in chat. Chat, thank you for being ne'er-do-wells and hanging out with us, but don't go just yet. We've got about a half hour left. We're going to be talking about what's in the tank. In the meantime, we will let these two gentlemen go, and I will play for you a video that has the wrong dates. So enjoy that. And then, guys, we'll see you next Monday.
Great.
There we go.
Howdy, howdy.
How are you, my friend?
Living the dream, living the dream.
Me too. I'm also living a dream.
Amazing.
It's a pretty good, it's not a bad dream.
Fantastic.
Honestly. Yeah. Hey, so it is that time, and that time is yes, it's time. It is time for we're going back into the vault for this. Sorry, friend. And now it's time for what's in the tank.
Doodly doodly doo.
Scanning. Welcome.
So, Mr. Super Spy, your President Reagan will not help you now. You are a prisoner of the United Soviet Socialist Republic, and you will answer our questions. Tell us, what's in the tank?
Love
Nice.
it. Love it. We're kind of in an escalating arms war with those intros, and I love it. And I hope everyone does as well. I do hope you do love it, but I don't care if you don't, because I think they're great. We've got some other really fun ones coming, don't we, Devious?
Oh yes, absolutely.
So what?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what's in the tank is we kind of pin it to the it's sort of the finisher, the sort of the digestif of the Mumamo program, where we talk about what's in the tank, quite literally what's in the tank. And Devious is a tremendous help, is in there managing all kinds of superheroes and helping people connect dots and being a part of all the stuff that goes on there. So So I've invited him to come join me on a regular Monday basis to have this conversation. And
Absolutely.
so, yeah, so go for
I've
it.
got to say, I'd like to think of us more as the dessert. The mumamo, that's the meal. That's where you get the hearty, good,
Yes,
solid
sure.
information. But
Yes,
we're the finisher.
that's the
We're
meat.
the thing that just gives that nice little sweet finish. Ta-da!
Yeah, that's
Anyway,
right. That's right. Yeah, I like that. If what's in the tank were a dessert, what dessert would it be? Chat, why don't you let us know?
what
I think
dessert
it's
are
something
we?
peanut buttery.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm thinking
Yeah.
maybe lemon chiffon. I think there we go. So
Oh,
very
hey,
good.
that's refreshing and light.
That's right.
Um,
There we go.
lingering on the palate. Flan,
Oh,
says Nate.
wee
Yeah, I
wee.
like a flan. Yeah.
Oh, I like,
Or
yeah, flan's good. Love flan. I
yeah,
like,
flan's good.
or absolutely. But Troy, I want to
Yes.
thank you so much
Oh.
for, yes, by helping us relive the nostalgia of what a great month July was.
Yeah,
It
all
was a great
right.
month. It was a fantastic month, and thank you for enabling that. Also, by the way, wanted to thank you because you made the Atomic Think Tank possible by inventing the internet. You, Al Gore, and DARPA, of course,
Yeah,
got together and invented the internet just so we could have the Atomic Think Tank. And I
that's
wanted to
exactly right. Yeah.
thank you from the bottom of my heart for that. That was
Well,
just
finally, I'm
amazing.
getting the recognition I deserve.
I know,
And I did it when I was so very young. That yeah, you would think I was old, but
well, boy,
I'm
genius. I mean, I
that's
think,
that's right.
so
That's right. Yeah. The boy that's a genius.
that's right.
That was me. Yeah, well, no, you're welcome. And yeah, all in a day's work, my friend, all in a day's work.
I
Speaking of a
appreciate
day's work, what's in the tank? Let's talk about it.
Well, I actually wanted to talk to you about something superty duperty special.
Soupity doopity.
Superty duperty special. We
Nice.
have a winner. We have a winner, and I need you to put on the proper protective eye gear
Mm,
because you know what I'm getting ready to show. It's
mm.
the incredible green Ronini.
The green Ronini. Look at that. That is so beautiful. And I love it. I got a little flack because, I love calling it the green Ronini. I love it. But some folks feel like it's a little silly. But I think nothing could be more serious.
About. I think it's absolutely 100% serious. But
Absolutely.
we have a winner now. I am super enthused to announce the winner of the Pimp My Super Ride contest, passing the finish line. The checkered flag has flown, and the winner, sir, winner Jason Cochran with the Corvid.
I
Sorry.
see. A little occluded there with the hold on one second. I think I can fix that even right on the
Sure.
fly. But that is awesome.
Yes, winner Jason Cochran with the Corvid. Thank you so much, Jason. Thank you, everybody, for all their entries. Simon Wentworth, Paul Rua, everybody getting in the tank and then putting in their vehicles are fantastic. Just so many people to mention. And I especially want to thank Paul Rua for giving Troy his special gift, and that was the gift of the Zeppelin. That's right.
I was
Master of the air.
I was so excited to see that, Paul. You have no idea. Listen, I think that there's only one way to really sum up. I think our collective emotions on all of this stuff, and that is
Exactly. Thank you so much for that. I wasn't braced for it, but I
I like
I
to get when
appreciate
you're
it.
unexpected. Yeah, yeah,
I know it's change it up a little bit. I appreciate
yeah,
that.
yeah. Exactly.
But anyway, I just wanted to say thank you guys. But wait, there's more.
Wow.
Yes, there is more because starting this next week, or sorry, the next 2 weeks, again, we're going to a 2-week schedule. We have the Mumamo Build a Super HQ.
Oh, I love this.
Get out your hammers and get your hammers out, your hard hats on, heroes. It's time to build your Super HQ this time. And now we're going to focus on, those places where the heroes dwell. It's basically in 2 weeks we have a maps and mutants and masterminds topic in Mumamo. And
Mhm.
so to celebrate that, if you just come up with a stat block for your super headquarters, fit for a team of heroes, that's great. That's your entry. If, however, you also do a map with it, it's going to count as 2 entries.
Nice. Now
So,
listen,
yeah.
if folks, if you're a little worried about drawing something like it, create something rudimentary. Give it a shot. Even if you're not a cartographer, every journey begins with that first step. Yeah, I'd love to see some maps in there.
Absolutely. And, we need the entry by September 8th, 2024, 6 p.m. That's Central Standard Time. Have the hashtag Super HQ. That's hashtag Super HQ in your entry in order to qualify. And we're going to
We can
choose at
find
random,
you,
just
yeah.
like we did last time. It makes it easier for us to find, whether it's a secret underground bunker, floating fortress, high-tech skyscraper. Can't wait to see what you create. And also, here's a just kind of an idea for a template, just so you know how to put it in. That's just the standard header 1, and this is header 4. Basically, just makes it look nice. If you can get it in that way, break brown and get to building. Get in the tank. Get
What
in
did
the
you say?
tank. Get
Break-
in the tank.
Get in the tank. What were you said? Break a what?
Break ground and get to building.
Ground. I
Yes.
thought I heard break brown, and I was like, what could
Breaking
that
brown?
possibly? I don't even know what that
Break
means.
brown?
Hey, but by the
What?
way, if we were a dessert, this particular segment, we've
Mhm.
got flan, we've got banana pudding, which I don't know that I appreciate. Raymond's
Nanner pudding?
no, thank you. And then a
Nanner
chocolate
pudding.
eclair and creme brulee. Okay, I like that. I think I'm the creme brulee.
Oh, well, I don't know. I'm liking that Danner pudding, especially if it's a few days old, got that nice film on top. You okay? Are you all right there? Do you need a vanilla wafer?
I need another wafer stat.
Oh dear.
Oh, nothing like a fridge soggy Nilla wafer.
Oh yes.
Num num num
Absolutely.
num num num. Reese's
Dude.
Pieces cookies.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go.
That's not bad. Not bad
I
at all.
like it. The St. Louis delicacy frozen custard. That's off the chain.
That
Frozen
is off the.
custard. It's called
Put
a
it back up.
concrete. Basically, it's so thick. They'll basically put a spoon in it in the top and then turn it upside down right in front of you right before they give it to you. It is so thick and amazing. Great food. Concretes. Good.
Yeah, yummy. Yum, yum, yum. Okay, cool. Yeah, so there's some great. So William Eng says, my place is the dump. Its headquarters
no.
in the shape of a crap emoji. It's where I break brown.
That sounds like Junk Piles HQ.
It does. It sounds like Junk Piles HQ or the villainous Brown Note. Doc Void said I heard break brown too. Yeah, I didn't know. I
Break
don't know.
Brown?
Yeah,
I
that's
don't know.
Doc's. It sounded like break brown. We'll have to play it back later.
I even had break ground on the thing. Oh, goodness.
I don't know.
All right.
I mean,
I think my problem is I need to enunciate.
No, I think it happened just the way it was meant to happen.
Well,
All right, what else we got in the tank?
Well, we've got a number of things. We've got a number of articles here. We've got first of all, I want to thank again Paul Rua. He had a really great article. We can be heroes, hero points in the teen hero genre. He also has a thing in there about a card system he's working on. Steinbrewer has another city. It's kind of like the sister city of St. Lawrence called Rockhaven. There are a number of entries in here for the Super Ride contest, including the Corvid, which won, of course, and the Jackdaw, but also the Master of Air and his Dread Zeppelin, your favorite.
A Dread Zeppelin.
The Dread Zeppelin.
Can you pull that up, or is that
no
easy for you to do?
I just well, let me here. Master of the Air.
It's so great. Honestly, I don't listen. There is. I worked with hobbyist communities for nearly my entire career. Oh, look at that. That's sharp. Very nice.
Oh, yes.
The articles, you would imagine, I think you might hear articles, friends, and think, like it's a forum kind of thing. And, or it's, no, these are articles. These are meaty, beefy resources that are here and shared for you to use. So you could come in
Absolutely.
and incorporate. Maybe you've got an adventure that requires the master and his dread zeppelin, which is
I,
just friggin' fantastic.
it's
Love
amazing.
it.
I just like he's got information on like for henchmen, for scientists, and even like plot hooks as well. This is just an incredible entry. Paul, thank you so much. He really goes to the nth degree for his entries, and I really
Yes,
appreciate
Squire,
that.
girthy. That's exactly how I would describe
Girthy.
it.
Oh
Very
my,
girthy articles. Yes.
girthy.
Yeah, no, they're phenomenal, and I just encourage you, just come in and just click around. Once you see how it's just incredible. I continue to be in awe of where do people get the time, and they're so good. They're not just half-assed sort of dashing off some nonsense. They're really set in the genre with hints and tips and tricks for you to incorporate it into an adventure. It's just it's really remarkable. It continues to astound and amaze and impress. So you definitely want to check that out.
And but you know what? I there has been some people who are unsure about how to share an article. And I kind of wanted to go over the process real quick. If
Sure.
that's let's go ahead and see if I go to there we go. So I'm going to go ahead and just go to the commons here. And from the commons, if you're going to put in an article, what you want to do is go to the Freedom City Library and then go right to where it says articles here. Let me zoom in on that. All right. Click on that. And then when you want to put in your article, go to create up here and then down to article and click on that. And that it's going to open this up. Here you're going to start editing, put in your title. Down here you can put in anything. And if you do, you have some text here, you can make it huge size using the headers here, or much smaller if you want to start dividing your information. You can make it bold, you can make it in italicized.
Got a
You
couple.
have Go ahead.
I was just say got a couple ways that you can three actually ways you can kind of quote text, and it's
Oh yeah.
really really comprehensive stuff.
You can
And
put a
yeah,
link in here with the
hmm
insert link tool.
yep,
You can even like put things in bulleted list, or if you want to, numbered lists. And you can also align it differently if you feel like the need to. One other thing you can do is you can also input pictures. When you go to a new line, just like I did right there, you'll see a little plus. Click on the plus, and that's going to open it up where you can put in a photo, video, or file. You can link to a YouTube video. There's also embeds if you want to pull in from different things like Zapier or Google Docs, things like that. And basically different things you can do. And of course, like just put in a horizontal line or whatever you need to do at that point. But it's really easy to use once you get the flow of it. Just get in there. And for this is for your articles. The articles are specifically things uh, mutants and masterminds. Yeah, there's a link here in the very first page on how to write an article for the Freedom City Library. Just gives you general ideas. And then finally, there's a list of hashtags here that basically it helps other people look for your articles. If they think, hey, did I see an article in here on pulp? Was there an article on pulp? Well, I can go ahead, put in pulp, and I can bring up all the items that have pulp information in them. If we do the super ride, we put in super ride, and these are just the articles on them. There's vehicles, etc., etc. And if we want to put in a stat block, if you want just something that's specifically a character, vehicle, or HQ, you go to Aegis Files, and again, Aegis Files is right over there. Sorry. And you go to stat blocks, and just the same as you did before, hit create, click on article, and start putting in your stat block. We've got, if you have questions about, how should I make it look, what's the best way to look, just look at some other examples that are already in there. We've got some information on hashtags for here so they can find things like if your character is a battle suit, construct, something like that. There's hashtags for that. And that's in the Aegis files up here. Sorry, I'm getting a little all over the place with that zoom function there. But basically, I just wanted to walk everybody through that. So if you want to put your stuff in, this is how to do it. You can go to Freedom City Library, click on articles, click create, go to articles, and just start typing away, saying what you feel.
Absolutely. Hey, so real quick, one of the things that I want folks who are in the tank to do me a favor. There is a oh brother,
Yes, sir.
there is going to be a survey that will ask this question. As you have gone through, for folks who are, it doesn't matter if you just sign up today or you've been here from the beginning. If you've been here the whole time, what I need is your bug reports. Even if it's something that happens intermittently, even if it's something you bump into, occasionally, or even if it's like something that you expect behavior-wise that it should look a little different than it behave differently than the experience you had or have had. And what I'd like you to do is just reply directly to the poll question, or it's actually a question, not a poll question. And this will give us 1 second well, that is a gnarly URL. But I'm dropping it in chat. Do me a favor. Let me know. Then I'm taking that list directly to our friends at Mighty Network. They have been bugging me in a good way, in a very good way. They're being very attentive and they care very much about what the community thinks. And they are very much interested in hearing about your experiences. Please be as specific as possible. I don't necessarily need you to go through the whole repro steps and all that good stuff. But what I do need is for you to just tell me where you had the problem, when it happened, what you were doing, and as much of that information as possible, I think is great. Yeah.
Should they also put in requests for features they may not find but think should have been there, something like that?
I think that's a good idea. Right now, very explicitly, we're looking for like things that, or bugs or just something that is just acting a little different, not quite as. Me too, William. All of my I kind of vacillate between getting everything all at once and then nothing for a while, and then they start up again. And so there's something going on behind the scenes. But as Devious and I have been kind of picking apart all of the pieces of the puzzle, I'm generally really pleased with what Mighty's put together, and I think that the new things that are coming are definitely what we would like to see. And I just want to make sure we capture the kind of the bigger bug issue. And if you're really pining away for a particular feature to make things easier, for instance, is this a bug or a feature request? Search by author. Or search by that to me seems like more of an oversight than a feature request. So here's my thing.
Yeah,
Don't limit yourself. Right.
I'd love to be able. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh no, I'm just going to say respond to that question with anything that you felt. If you ever thought, oh well, wow, if only it did this, or I wish, gosh, it had this, or or this is a bug, or try not to categorize it and just drop it in there, whatever it might be. And I will definitely be taking that. I'm going to kind of synthesize it and then have a meeting with our friends at the Mighty Networks to share what we'd like to see and what are some bugs and that kind of stuff. But really appreciate that from everybody.
Yeah, I was just going to say searching by author would be fantastic because I would like to narrow in on Steve's articles and being able to just put in Steve Kenson and pull that up. Fantastic idea.
A stitch in time saves 9, folks, hashtags are our friends, but it would be great to be able to just search on all the axes like you can just generally, there's just a certain way you would expect something like a search to work, and it ought to work in those dimensions for sure.
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, it's 3:23 Pacific Standard Time, coming up to the end of our segment, What's in the Tank. Do we have any other things that we want to share or stuff to remind folks about?
Well, I did want to maybe talk a little bit about Paul Rua's article, We Can Be Heroes. And
Mhm.
just kind of give you a feature there. Paul has been doing some amazing work. Paul's super enthused with what you have to offer here. Thank you so much for all the work you've done. Basically, he's talking a little bit about how the young teen genre is very conducive to using hero points and generating more hero points and using more complications, because as young people, you're going to have more complications when you're young. You're going to be inexperienced, or you're going to be maybe more prone to falling in love at the drop of a hat, or maybe you're up a what's the word, compulsive liar. It's like, "Oh, I just want to impress everybody." Maybe you're very subject for peer pressure. All these things are great complications, and
Yeah.
all that stuff is, when you're in a lower power level or a lower PL game, very important to keep those hero points flowing. So this is a fantastic article. Again, it's in the tank. It's We Can Be Heroes, hero points, and the teen hero genre. Now, also Rockhaven, fantastic. Another fantastic article by regarding St. Lawrence by Steinbrewer. Fantastic article, a lot of great information here, a lot of plot hooks, and great history lined up for us. 100% fantastic efforts by those fellows. And also, Paul Rua did a little card thing. He said, "So I accidentally invented a thing." And basically it's a really good idea. And there are cards out there for D&D type games, fantasy type games, but there really aren't a lot of card type things for superhero games. And this is just a really good idea. It's time it's come. It's time has come. Basically putting in a card format to where you can a GM can lay out uh a deck of 5 items and say, "Okay, I want to take number 1 off of here. It's going to be a mad scientist. Maybe on the next card it has murder or some other kind of crime. Third
Yeah.
item down will be like an environment or setting. Then you're going to have the PC complication that's going to come to the fore, and then finally a plot twist. Basically, it's a really good way to lay out a superhero game for the GM before, or if you are really into improv, you can do it during, but I would suggest doing it before, because that's just crazy.
But I do love a good improv, and do believe our GMs are up to I would love to see an adventure on the fly with a kind of randomizing element. I'd love that. I'm going to think about that for a minute, but yeah.
Crazy. But the
Oh, look at
final
this.
thing is the interview with Mark Tip-Op Williams. He's he's the moderator at the subreddit Mutants Masterminds. He's also the owner of Sapphire City Discord server. Great interview with him, tells you a little bit more about both items, and they're great resources, both of them, for Mutants Masterminds. The Reddit's a great one for information and for asking questions, just like the Atomic Think Tank, but also Sapphire City, another great West Marches type server where you can go and play with people who've been in the game for a long time.
All kinds of good stuff going on there. Lots of activity and
Absolutely.
action, and you can
100%.
be involved.
Absolutely.
William, I'm tempted. I'm tempted to take your advice there. We should give Paul an honorary Green Ronini.
Well, I believe Paul was one of the winners of one of the previous challenges. So anybody who's gotten one of the previous challenges and won it, they're going to get a
Nice.
Green
Okay.
Ronini.
You get a retro Ronini.
A retro Ronini. That's right.
Look at
The
that.
Roninis are coming.
Now, what we've done is we've contracted with a tattoo artist in your area. They're going to come to your house and they're going to put a big back tattoo. And it's going to be this. It won't be moving, of course, but it will be splendid. It'll be remarkable.
You have to pay extra if you want the moving, as I understand it.
Yeah, it just hurts a little bit more, but hey, you gotta.
And now one of the great things is you won't feel a thing. They're going to do it in your sleep. They have to
That's
gas
right.
your house first.
Yeah.
And I have, also paid them extra just to make sure it's instead of like on the back, it's more of a tramp stamp. So
Nice. I think that, and I'm glad that we went that route. I know that we were kind of on the fence, but no, I think it looks best that
absolutely.
way. Yeah,
diving
just
in.
to have the little green Ronin peeking over the belt line.
It's a matter of commitment, really.
It is. And we know you're all committed, or
That's
should
right.
be.
I know I'm
Yes.
committed, or I have
So
been,
am I.
but I got out. I got out, so it's all good.
I love that. Oh, Paul says
I know.
it's okay. I'll just simulate movement by wiggling my shoulder blades.
There
Yes.
you go.
Nice.
You're gonna have to wiggle something else if it's a tram stamp. So
That is
anyway,
true. Yes. Yeah, you can twerk it to life.
there you
Hey, I
go.
want to thank everybody that's hanging out with us. And a big super kudos to my Naughty Pine partner who's hanging out, Devious. Thank you for all the things you do in the tank, but also thank you for coming on and hanging out with me here and letting folks know. I love it. I feel like we're kind of morning jocks, like we're kind of doing that morning zoo radio with a couple sound effects, but all great information. And, it's pretty awesome to be able to say on Mondays, I get to celebrate a big, wonderful, awesome, amazing community.
Absolutely.
An
Oh, and
embarrassment of riches. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Some good soup also brought up. I forgot. My apologies. The winners also receive, of course, the virtual croissant.
That's true. Yeah, that is true. And no, is
Imaginary
it?
bread products.
Oh, so William Lang
Mm.
would like a tattoo of a croissant as a
Oh, there
tramp
you go.
stamp. Yeah. Yeah. Let him know. Inform the crew. Yeah, what I'd love
Well,
to about the whole tattoo thing is they're just gonna you'll be surprised. You wake up surprised, but
so
could happen at any point
why
in
does
time.
my back hurt? What happened last night?
What is this on my? Oh my goodness!
Oh,
Yeah,
dear.
it'll be real nice. Yeah. So, Stan, you only barely missed us. You caught the tail end of the tramp stamp discussion, which is of course the most valuable. The most valuable part of the show. But it's good to see you. And thank goodness for, video on demand. Really great topic today. I want to thank everybody in chat. I want to thank Devious. I want to thank, of course, Alex and Steve. We have fun. We have a blast. It always ends too soon. But we have to look forward to Thursday. That coming up on Thursday, same time, we hang out in the same place. We just swap out the skin suits and some colors and shapes. We've got some good stuff to talk about. We've got the Expanse backer kit crowdfunder thing coming. I got to tell you, it's a very cool crowdfunder. The stuff that we've got, the miniatures alone. I mean, we're talking miniature ships and crew. I'm really excited. I tried to get them to do a sort of 1-to-1 ship, but then I realized that's not a mini. That's actually just a ship.
That's a mega. That's not a mini.
Yeah,
So.
absolutely. Bob's Troy. Raymond's always out there helping me out. And I got bopped for an anime mallet for using the term tramp stamp. But famously, you had sort of the traveling. They called him a tramp, or there's they kind of fashioned some clowns after them. The tramp clown, kind of with the bindle and stick. Yeah, famously known for their twerking. So
absolutely twerking clowns. That's not a nightmare. That's not a nightmare.
No, it's not at all a nightmare. Yeah. Well, hey friends, I gotta go. A therapist call awaits me. Again, thanks everybody. Have a great rest of your week. Make sure to stop by the Atomic Think Tank, see what's cooking there at atomicthinktank.com, and drop us a question if you have a need, have a desire, you want to share something about what you're doing in your world. We're all ears and looking forward to hearing from you.
Absolutely. Don't forget, if you're a member, the dev chat tomorrow.
That's right. That is exactly right. Thank you, friends. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.